Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Nodwell, and I'm the Vice Dean for Graduate Education and Research in the Temerty Faculty of Medicine. I'm here today to congratulate you on completing your various degrees and to wish you all the best as you go forward in life. I'm happy to be here, but I think we'd probably all be happier if we were actually together in the same space somewhere. It's been a long year. It's been a tough year, and we're all sick of it. Starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. But it's been remarkable, and I'm sure it's affected your education. I'm sure it's affected your lives. I'm sure some of you may have suffered losses during this time. I'm a fan of students in general, and also I'm a fan of young people, but I've always found students fascinating. I mean, you're at a time in your life when you've learned a lot. You have lots left to learn, but you have a foundation, and the world is just wide open for you. So much to see and experience, and so much influence to have over things for good. You can do a lot. But I think your generation, you're going to be special. When I was your age, I hadn't experienced anything like this. I haven't experienced anything quite like this until now at 57 years of age. And I think this is going to make you stronger going forward. It may not feel like it yet, but I think it's true. I think that you have seen firsthand that the decisions people make really matter. The priorities they set really matter, and the way people act really matters. And I think you know, in a way that my generation maybe did not, that every now and then you're going to have to lean on somebody. And every now and then you're going to have to let somebody lean on you. I think you're going to have a perspective on what is important in life that most people have lacked for a long time. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see where you take this knowledge and this experience going forward. So with that, I wish you all the best on your future endeavors, and I will hand it off to Cody Copenhuber, and she'll carry on from there. Thank you very much, and good luck.
And hello, everyone. I'm Cody Copenhuber, Associate Director of Alumni Relations and Special Events in the Temerty Faculty of Medicine. It is my pleasure to congratulate you on completing your training and to welcome you to the Temerty Medicine community. But first, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home of many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful for the opportunity to work on this land. Graduation is always a huge achievement, but this year in particular certainly came with unique challenges, unlike those faced by any other graduates before you. I'm sure you've had to juggle more than you'd imagined, and have had to dig deep to find the strength to continue at times, but you've made it, and you should be so proud. I know all of us at the Temerty Faculty of Medicine are. And while you may be finishing up here, this is certainly not goodbye. Some of you are already Temerty Medicine alumni, but many others are joining our community for the first time and joining 61,000 healthcare leaders from around the globe. As you embark on this next chapter of your lives and your careers, I hope you'll keep in touch. We want to hear from you and find out what you're up to. There are lots of ways to stay connected. Whether it's through attending lectures and reunions, mentoring current students, volunteering on awards committees, reconnecting on our graduate and life sciences social networking platform, Temerty Medicine Connect, or simply receiving our alumni newsletter and award-winning U of T Med magazine, there is something for everyone. We will be sending a brief follow-up email after the virtual U of T convocation ceremony, so you can just hit reply and let us know the best way to reach you. In the meantime, please enjoy this virtual celebration and this very special milestone.
Congratulations, graduating class of 2021. What an achievement and a reason to celebrate. It is an honor to congratulate you today on behalf of the alumni community. My name is Masha, and I'm a PhD graduate from the Department of Molecular Genetics. When I graduated 5 years ago, the world was quite a different place. At the time, I was captivated by then recent Ebola outbreak and Zika epidemic. 5 years on, we find ourselves amid a pandemic and the largest vaccination efforts in human history. The importance and the power of science has never been better understood. When I was graduating, I did not have a clear plan of what's ahead, but I knew what I was passionate about and I followed my interests. That path has led me to the inaugural cohort of the Canadian Science Policy Fellows, and then, a year later, to the newly created office supporting the Chief Science Advisor of Canada. These positions did not exist when I was pursuing graduate studies, and at the time, I didn't realize what I was preparing myself for. But when these opportunities arose, I was ready to step up to these amazing new challenges. Why was I ready? Well, I think this is largely due to 3 things that I want to share with you today. Throughout my career in science, I have followed my interests, asked for help, and committed myself to giving back. During graduate school, I was pursuing research, courses, fellowships, extracurricular activities that truly interested me without any ulterior motive or grand plan. Instead, I did it, because they were fun. And while I dove deep into host pathogen interactions during the day and night and the weekend, I also managed to take some English writing courses, pursue a fellowship at the World Health Organization, and run a mentorship program for high school students. Little did I know that this was a perfect combination of knowledge and skills for my first job out of grad school, managing an international network of high containment laboratories working on zoonotic diseases. I learned that following my seemingly eclectic interests prepared me for success in my next step without me even realizing. And while following my interests was important, it was not enough on its own. Graduate school can have tough moments, for instance, when your research hits a roadblock, as happened to me. In fact, I was stuck on a hypothesis for over a year and were getting only negative results. That was very frustrating, but looking back, it was one of the best things that happened to me during grad school. Why? Well, because it was then when I realized that I was surrounded by really bright people who were happy to talk through ideas and help me design bulletproof experiments. And I was able to publish a paper with negative data in a prestigious journal. Recognizing that you alone don't have all the answers makes it easier to seek out and engage with smart people around you and can also help amplify your impact. And having been both a mentor and a mentee, what I found is that asking for help makes you better at providing help. Giving back has endowed me with a sense of purpose, a valuable perspective, and a number of transferable skills. This past year has shown us that extraordinary accomplishments can come from people giving their time and their expertise, working together across sectors and disciplines. So far, following my interests, asking for help, and giving back has brought an unexpected and fulfilling career in the public service. Now, whether you know what your next steps are or not, I am truly optimistic for your future because of the knowledge, the skills, and the networks that you have built while at the University of Toronto. My fellow alumni are doing remarkable things, from advancing scientific knowledge and teaching a new generation of students, to running their own successful companies, communicating science, and contributing to the well-being of Canadians through laboratory testing and patient care. I follow their careers with enthusiasm and admiration, and I am certain that the same will be true for many of you. Your work is important, and the world needs your creativity and engagement. Once again, I want to congratulate you on this momentous occasion and welcome you to the alumni community.
Congratulations to the spring 2021 graduating class. This is such an achievement, especially during a pandemic year. I can't imagine how much this would have pulled you in so many different ways, both personally and professionally. So I really hope you take a moment to reflect and to appreciate what you have accomplished. You only graduate from grad school once, right? My name is Michael Wertzman. I received my PhD from the Department of Immunology at the University of Toronto in 2013. I've worked in the charitable sector, and I currently work as the medical lead for COVID therapeutics for the Canadian region of a global pharmaceutical company. Some of my fondest memories as an adult, to be honest, has been at grad school at U of T. Such a good time meeting new people and experiencing a lot of great academic challenges. I want to share with you 3 key things that I've reflected on during grad school and into my career in my last 8 years of working out of my PhD. The first is about deep reflection. I really, really encourage you to self-reflect and understand what are your strengths and what are your areas of growth. This will immensely come across positively someone who is self-aware, both in an interview and in any kind of conversation you're having in a professional environment. There's a lot of things we've all picked up on during grad school, right? Like critical thinking. How do we analyze certain things and figure out what is missing, what we have to do next? And I cannot underestimate communication. Being able to succinctly tell a story in an engaging way is so important, right? And it's not just about in a professional, like formal setting of making a presentation. There's also something I've learned that I want to share is the importance of marketing yourself, not just in an interview, but while you're working, demonstrating to your colleagues and to your manager and leadership in the organization about the successes that you're having and how it's contributing to the overall objective of that organization. Critically important and something I will emphasize for you to try to consciously think about as you move forward. The second, and we hear this cliche statement all the time, find something you love to do. My advice is don't feel like you need to find your perfect job right away. You will have decades of a good career ahead of you. The most important thing now is try things. Find an experience that you think is interesting for yourself, and you will learn. You'll learn what you like, what you don't like about certain jobs, certain industries, and that's okay. And you'll be able to take those learnings and move on to another thing. From my experience, in the company I work for now, over the last 4 years, I've had 4 different mandates or roles. And some people will say, that's too much for me. I'd rather be in one job for a longer time. Others will say that's very interesting. I get to learn a lot quickly and move on to something else. So it's very personal, but don't feel pressured that you have to find your perfect job right away. You have lots of time to figure things out. And then the third thing I want to share with you, and again, you've probably heard this from 1,000 people, but it's networking. I can really not underestimate the importance of getting to know people and trying to figure out who do you need to talk to get to your next step. Personally, of all the jobs I've had out of grad school, all of them have been because of networking and people I've gotten to know. If I look quickly back at grad school, you may know Nana Lee, who's the Director of Graduate Professional Development for some departments at the University of Toronto. And I met her because I met someone on a train going to Ottawa that was stalled for 10 hours during a winter. And in Nana's class, I met my future vice president of an organization that I proactively spoke to and ended up playing out very nicely for my first job at a grad school. So my piece of advice is network, and don't be passive. When you're in a networking session, it's one thing to say, I'm going to attend. It's another thing to be proactive and try to stand out. Don't just listen, try to get to know people. So my 3 things, right? Deep reflection on who you are, what you like, what you're good at. Don't feel rushed to find your perfect job, and network. I will leave you with that. Congratulations again, a really special moment, and I wish you all the best.